Hello, and welcome to Top 10 Hidden Gem Anime. These anime are just a select few that not many have seen, and I can guarantee that you have not watched at least 2 or 3 of these hidden gems. Starting off, on the number 10 spot is Eureka 7. Eureka 7 is an amazing story that leaves you on the edge of your seat the entire ride. In the backwater town of Belforest lives a 14-year-old boy named Renton Thurston. He desires to leave his home behind and join the mercenary group known as Gecko State, hoping to find some adventure to brighten up his mundane life. He tries to save the girl many times, and even though it seems like it's just another mecha anime, and that might turn some people off from watching, it is a must-watch for anyone who has not seen it. It's on the number 10 spot just because of its popularity, but the popularity is too small for such a hidden gem. On the number 9 spot, we have Trigun. Vash the Stampede is the man with a 60 billion bounty on his head. The reason? He's a merciless villain who lays waste to all those that oppose him, and flattens entire cities for fun, garnering him the title, the Humanoid Typhoon. They say that he leaves a trail of death and destruction wherever he goes, and anyone can count themselves dead if they so much as make eye contact, or so the rumors say. In actuality, Vash is a huge softie who claims to have never taken a life and avoids violence at all costs. With his crazy donut obsession and buffoonish attitude in tow, Vash traverses the wasteland of the planet Gunsmoke, all the while followed by 2 insurance agents, Meryl Strife and Millie Thompson, who attempt to minimize his impact on the public. But soon, their misadventures evolve into life or death situations, as a group of legendary assassins are summoned to bring about suffering to the trio. Vash's agonizing past will be unraveled, and his morality and principles pushed to the breaking point. On the number 7 spot, we have Btooom, or Btooom. Ryota Sakamoto is unemployed and lives with his mother. His only real achievement being that he's the top Japanese player of the popular online video game Btooom. However, his peaceful life is about to change. He finds himself stranded on an island in the middle of nowhere, with a small green crystal embedded in his left hand, and no memory of how he got there. To his shock, someone has decided to recreate the game he is so fond of in real life, with the stakes being life or death. Armed with a bag full of unique bombs, known as BIMs, the players are tasked with killing 7 of their fellow participants and taking their green crystals in order to return home. Initially, condemning any form of violence, Ryota is forced to fight when he realizes that many of the other players are not as welcoming as they may seem. Teaming up with Himiko, a fellow Btooom player, they attempt to get off the island together, coming closer and closer to the truth behind the contest of death. There's also a kiss scene for those romance lovers. On the number 6 spot, which is the one after this, or no, right now we're on the number 6 spot, we have Black Lagoon. Some people aren't a fan of action anime with guns and everything. Well, I wasn't a fan of action anime when I watched it the first time, but as I was watching it, it truly opened up my eyes. Within Thailand, Ranpur, a depraved, crime-ridden city where not even the authorities or churches are untouched by the claws of corruption. A haven for convicts and degenerates alike, the city is notorious for being the center of illegal activities and operations, often fueled by local crime syndicates. Enter Rokuro Okajima, an average Japanese businessman who has been living a dull and monotonous life. When he finally gets his chance for a change of pace, it's a delivery trip to Southeast Asia. His business trip swiftly goes downhill as Rokuro is captured by a mercenary group operating in Ranpur called Black Lagoon. The group plans to use him as a bargaining chip in negotiations, which ultimately fail. Now, abandoned and betrayed by his former employer, Rokuro decides to join Black Lagoon in order to survive. He must quickly adapt to his new environment and prepares himself for the bloodshed and tribulation to come. A non-stop, high-octane thriller, Black Lagoon delves into the depths of human morality and virtue. Witness Rokuro struggling to keep his values and philosophies intact as he slowly transforms from businessman to ruthless mercenary. And that's 6 through 10. Now to the top 5. On the number 5 spot, we have C, The Money of Soul and Possibility Control. I have not heard many people talk about this anime, even though it is quite well known in Japan. Money is power, and without it, life is meaningless. In a country whose economy is in shambles, second-year economics university student Kimimaro Yoga understands this fact all too well, and he is surrounded by the relatively luxurious lives of his peers, while he is struggling to make ends meet. However, his world is turned on its head when a stranger in a top hat arrives one late night at his door. Going by the name Asakaki, the visitor petitions Yoga to come to the Eastern Financial District, a place where money flows in abundance, if one offers their future as collateral. Although reluctant, greed triumphs reason, and Yoga accepts the offer, thus taking on the mantle of an entree. But, unbeknownst to him, the land of wealth he has entered is an alternate realm built in the likeness of his own, where entrees are forced to participate in weekly duels called deals. With their collateral at stake, pitted against his countrymen in fate, Yoga must quickly adapt in this new world if he hopes to protect his fortune and future, and discovers just how much money is truly worth. Wow, well, we're close to the top 3 now. On to number 4. The number 4 spot we have is Now and Then, Here and There. Shuzo Shu Matsutani lives his ordinary life in peace. He has friends, a crush, and a passion for kendo. Dejected after losing to his kendo rival, Shu climbs a smokestack to watch the sunset, where he finds Lala Ru, a quiet, blue-haired girl wearing a strange pendant. Shu attempts to befriend her, despite her uninterested, bland responses. However, his hopes are crushed when a woman, occupied by 2 serpentine machines, appear out of thin air with one goal in mind: capture Lala Ru. Shu, bullheaded as he is, tries to save his new friend from her kidnappers, and is transported to a desert world, unlike anything he has ever seen before. Yet, despite the circumstances, Shu only thinks of saving Lala Ru, until he is thoroughly beaten up by some soldiers. As he soon finds out, Lala Ru can manipulate water, and her pendant is the source from which she is able to bring forth the liquid, a scarce commodity in his new environment. But now the pendant is lost, and Shu is the prime suspect. Ima Soko ni Iruboku, the Japanese name, is the haunting story of a dystopian world and of Shu, who has to endure torture, hunger, and the horrors of war in order to save the lonely girl he found sitting atop a smokestack. And here we are, at the top 3. At the number 3 spot is an anime that some have shrugged off just because of what it looks like. I know I have, for a while too, until I ended up watching it. On the number 3 spot, we have Ballroom Youkoso. If you like shonen anime and a bit of romance, this anime is really good. Just because it's about ballroom dancing doesn't mean it should be shrugged off. The ballroom dancing actually makes it really interesting. Tatara Fujita is a shy middle schooler who has no particular plan for the future. He has gotten through life by avoiding any kind of confrontation and blending in with the crowd. But blending in isn't enough to get out of trouble, as some bullies harass him for money. Luckily, he is saved by a man named Kaname Sengoku. Kaname invites Tatara to his dance studio. Although he would normally never set foot in such a place, Tatara is captivated by Sengoku's commanding presence. Granted an opportunity to dance with fellow classmates, Shizuku Hanaoka, who often practices at the studio, given an opportunity to dance with fellow classmate Shizuku Hanaoka, a beautiful girl who often practices at the studio. Tatara realizes there's something about the idea of being put in the limelight and dancing where people will see him that keeps him coming back. With an earnest, passionate drive to improve, Tatara begins his journey into the world of competitive dance. And then, on the number 2 spot, we have Fractale. This might be the biggest hidden gem on this list, as barely anyone, and I mean anyone, knows about this anime, and it's really good. The story takes place on an island, where a fractal system is beginning to collapse. One day, Klein finds an injured girl called Frine under a cliff. She disappears, leaving a pendant. Klein sets out for a journey with the girl-shaped avatar, Nessa, to look for Frine, and discovers the secret of the fractal system. Join Klein on his adventure story as he goes after the girl. A great story that is worth the watch. And finally, the spot we all have been waiting for, number 1. And on the number 1 spot, we have Eden of the East, my personal favorite anime of all time. This anime is not for everyone, but for me it was amazing, and I've rewatched it several times. Here's the story. On November 22, 2010, Japan was hit by missile strikes, a terrorist act that fortunately did not harm anyone, becoming known as Careless Monday. Quickly forgotten, society goes on about their lives as normal. During her graduation trip to America 3 months later, friendly college student Saki Morimi's life is forever changed when she finds herself saved from unexpected trouble by Akira Takizawa. Takizawa is cheerful but odd in many ways. He is stark naked and suffers from amnesia, believing himself to be a terrorist. In addition, he possesses a strange cell phone loaded with 8.2 billion yen in digital cash. Despite Takizawa's suspicious traits, Saki quickly befriends the enigmatic young man. However, unbeknownst to her, this is the beginning of a thrilling death game involving money, cell phones, and the salvation of the world. Higashi no Eden, that's his name, chronicles Saki's struggle to unravel the mysteries behind her savior, while Takizawa himself battles other individuals armed with similar cell phones, returning memories, which reveal his possible connection to the event from months ago. And that's that. Thanks for watching. These videos take a good amount of time to make, so if you would interact with the video, that'd be great. Thank you.